We're giving Benedictine number 5 this week because of Augie Basu's grandson throwing a couple of touchdown passes to beat Sandusky in Sandusky. It's number 295 for Grandpa. But here's number 1. This is why Lake Catholic's number 1. I mean, you could just ask St. Ed's. Eagles came in, 6 straight wins at the end of last year. Lake Catholic just put it back in their face, blocking 3 punts for touchdowns. You saw one. There's number 2. 3 block punt touchdowns in an amazing 56-7 win. Now, Ed's is not that bad, let me tell you, but Lake might indeed be that good. First set of Friday Night Heroes has now been crowned.
Catholic played host to Walsh Jesuit.
All right,
Lake led 14-3 at halftime, and after a scoreless third quarter, Carmen Alacqua would take over, twisting and turning his way en route to a 26-yard touchdown. The Cougar defense was dominant throughout this contest. Lake Catholic is a winner 21-3. So it wasn't a typical Lake Catholic blowout by any means, but head coach John Gibbons will take a win any way he can get it. The Cougars moved to a perfect 6-0 by holding off a very stubborn Walsh Jesuit team. And as you can see, this very wet, soggy, and muddy Saturday night. In Mentor, Nick Cellini, Channel 3 Sports.
Never had a chance. This one was all Lake Catholic. Lake Catholic with plenty to cheer about this season. They've been rolling over their opponents. Tonight was no exception. This is not an instant replay of last year. Joe Juravicius over the middle from Pete Jelovic, going to dive into the end zone. Lake was up 21-0 at that point. John Gibbons could have went and ate a couple of hot dogs or something. That didn't matter. Carmen Alacqua would go in for the touchdown. It was 28-0 at half. Lake Catholic is a winner 37-0. Now all of the action, all of the results, the final tally on the evening roll.
But don't change that dial just yet. We're not finished. Cleveland's other state champion, the Cougars of Lake Catholic, were busy on the west side as well. They were paying a visit to the Bruins of Padua. And it was the Carmen Alacqua show. The running back scores here from 3 yards out. Alacqua would score 2 touchdowns on the ground as well as throwing for another. Lake an unbeaten 8-0 as well. The Cougars top Padua 30-7. Wrapping up week 8 of high school football, I'm Nick Cellini for Channel 3 Sports.
Off the upset and a fumble right here. Lake Catholic is behind 14-7 when we pick it up. Then, maybe one of the quickest backs around, Carmen Alacqua. Look, if you can't even find him, he's number 20. He's gone for a touchdown, and that tied the game at 14 apiece. Then, Pete Jelovic will set up this play. It's the game winner. Scott O'Donnell. Watch this run by O'Donnell. Touchdown. Lake Catholic, Division III state champions, remain undefeated. They win 24-14. Now, the game that, well, it's the opening night of the high school football playoffs. Division III, Lake Catholic, undefeated, trying to repeat as Division III state champs, taking on a team that stopped them 2 years ago in a very disputed playoff game, Youngstown Cardinal Mooney. These guys have to be crazy. No shirts on. Look at the snow falling down at Niles. Carmen Alacqua, he joined us at 6 o'clock on Channel 3 and said they would not be stopped. He wouldn't be stopped. Touchdown, he had 2 of them. But here comes the play of the year. Watch this run by Scott Hummel, 83. He's tackled right there, and ripped right there, and gets away, and he is gone. What a run by Hummel. He goes in for a touchdown, and Lake Catholic is on a roll. Down to your knees, Scott. That's the only time, only he could put him down. Right there, the touchdown pass, Pete Jelovic to Joe Juravicius, and Lake Catholic wins 41-24. Chuck Galletti talked with winning coach John Gibbons after the game.
You got to be happy with the performance.
Yeah, to come down here and play as well we did and take a 41-0 lead on a Cardinal Mooney team, you're doing well, so we're excited.
Looks like next week you'll be going against Ursuline. You're looking just keep the momentum going.
Right, they're another real good team from the Youngstown area here, and we'll be ready.
Got it.
They will be ready. They will be tough to stop. A lot of people thought they were slumping a little bit, but they put it all together tonight. That's a big win for them over Youngstown Cardinal Mooney. All right, let's stand. All right, and speaking of unsung, you know, I was talking to a couple of college scouts over at Niles Friday night. They were all excited about the passing duo of Jelovic and Juravicius. Number 20 was a guy playing better than both of them that night. Carmen Alacqua, 3 touchdowns, 123 yards, and he even plays defense, too. He is a dandy. All right, now, our high-five hero had his...
Ursuline in their way. Ron Yance has more on that from the high school sports desk. Ron.
Well, Gilbert, the Lake Catholic Cougars are trying to win back-to-back state championships in Division III. They have currently won 20 games in a row and are 1 game away from the state semifinals. And tomorrow night's opponent will be the 10-1 Youngstown Ursuline Fighting Irish.
In the Division III regional final, it's the number 4 ranked Youngstown Ursuline Irish against the number 1 ranked and defending state champion Lake Catholic Cougars.
They're very characteristic of the Steel Valley Conference, a big physical team that will really come after you, play aggressively, so you have to deal with that.
Everyone feels that they're not only the best team in the state of Ohio in Division III, that they're the best team in the state, that they could play on any division. And having looked at them on film and so forth, you know, I have to agree.
Well, last Friday, in Lake Catholic's 41-24 win over Youngstown Cardinal Mooney, the Cougars looked every bit the part. Behind the passing of Pete Jelovic and the running of Carmen Alacqua, Lake Catholic's offense totaled over 400 yards, and their first-team defense, well, they left the field up 41-zip.
We all have our own responsibilities, and I feel that we have a lot of trust with each other, so I feel that really helps. If we have trust in each other, we're all going to, it's a perfect defense.
The Cougars may need it because last week against Twinsburg, Ursuline's offense piled up 496 total yards, 386 of them on the ground. So as Lake Catholic practiced this afternoon, they did so with a first-team defense that has stopped a lot of offenses. 8 shutouts in 11 games, and an offense of their own with more than just one weapon.
It has to all start out with the line, good quarterback, and we have good offensive weapons, not only at the receiver position, but tailback and fullback and everywhere. We had a good week of practice last week, and this week I think it continued. So we'll be ready to go out there and roll.
And Gibber, we will be out there enrolling tomorrow night. We will be in Warren for the Lake Catholic Youngstown Ursuline game. We will also be in Hartville for the Independence and Dalton game, and in Fremont for
Lake Catholic. The way they play the O. So what do but cause 3 turnovers that turn into 3 short touchdowns that dig them out of a 21-0 hole against Youngstown Ursuline. And now they are alive as well. Here are the semifinal games in our end of the state. Division I, Saturday night at Massillon Tiger Stadium. That ought to be a dandy between Ignatius and Austintown Fitch. Here's a game Friday night at Finney Stadium. Fostoria going for another Division II title. Division III, Lake Catholic has to go down to Mansfield to play. In Division IV, Saturday night here at Finney, it'll be Warren Kennedy, the host team. In Division V, Independence, they're still charging. They'll play down at Fawcett Stadium at the Hall of Fame. Now, Lake Catholic coach John Gibbons got so wound up in his playoff game with Youngstown Ursuline, he took the bench and he tossed it, you know, like one of those cabers in the Irish games. His Cougars came back from a 21-0 deficit to make it to tonight's semifinals down in Mansfield. Coach Gibbons didn't have to be nearly so excited. He just had to turn to this guy, Carmen Alacqua. Tonight, the unsung Lake Catholic hero had a night to remember, a night his grandkids are never going to forget. He roars for a touchdown here of 83 yards. He had 14 carries for 178 on the ground. He's still rumbling and stumbling and going for a score. He had 4 touchdowns rushing on the night. And just to cap it off, he's going to catch one of Pete Jelovic's 12 completions right here for a 5th touchdown. Lake Catholic led 42-zip before turning the bench loose. They're on to state again thanks to a kid named Carmen.
He's got something special. You use a lot of words, but his head's always in it. He's focused, whatever, and he practices like that. All you got to do is go watch Carmen Alacqua practice football, and you'll see why he's the kind of player that he is.
Tonight at the Pro Football Championship in a row, as they went down to Mansfield and just rolled over Lima Bath. Go Lake Catholic, and they were going. With Joe Juravicius on the sidelines, the great wide receiver might be back for the state championship game. Carmen Alacqua had a night to remember. He scored there, but this is the run of the evening. Alacqua takes the Lima Bath defense to the left, to the outside left, a cut back towards the middle, and he's gone. 83 yards. Look at all the Lake Catholic players looking for a player to block. He had 163 yards rushing in the first half alone. And he did some receiving too. Pete Jelovic throws, and Alacqua took it down to the 1-foot line. He would score on the next play. And you want to see some great blocking? Alacqua screen pass. Wow, what a block right there. And he's gone. He had 5 touchdowns in the game as Lake Catholic wins easily over Lima Bath, and they go to this Division III state championship game next week. Now, it was independent.
Let's talk about the incredible story of possible repeat champions. All those great seniors leave after last year, and Lake Catholic and St. Ignatius are still there. Lake Catholic coach John Gibbons led us in his locker room before the win over Lima Bath Friday night. No screaming, just cranking up the intensity one more notch. Listen.
Everybody's going to do their job. Only thing that's important is right now, tonight, right here in this stadium, that we go out there and play a great football game. Let's bring it on up. Let's go. Go.
And the offensive line went out and really brought it all up. Opening holes for Carmen Alacqua to have the night of a lifetime. 5 touchdowns. And this is from a team whose bread and butter is passing. And they even did a little of that, too. The Cougars may have even more weapons than last year's title team. They will play Saturday night in Massillon Tiger Stadium against Ironton. Now, let's go to the big school championship and talk about St.
For the Division III state championship. This afternoon, head coach John Gibbons and his Cougars practicing on the turf at John Carroll. Of course, they'll play on the turf at Massillon Saturday night. The Cougars are the defending state champions in Division III.
I think there was a big sense of pressure this year. You know, are they going to repeat, or are they going to be as good as last year? But this is the 1992 Lake Catholic team, and we're a different team, and we had to make an identity for ourselves, and I think we did that.
The emotions are high. You know, people already have butterflies. You know, we just have to get through school, and then you know, when it comes time to get on the practice field, the emotions start flowing, and you know, come Saturday, you know, everyone should be real pumped up.
Joe Juravicius, by the way, says he has yet to test his knee on the field and is still uncertain if he'll play Saturday night. Joe is an All-Ohio wideout, so they could certainly use him. If the Indians had...
More from the high school sports desk.
Wildcats and Cougars. Ron Yance previews the Cougars from the high school sports desk. Ron.
Well, Gibber, all 5 of the defending state champion football champions will be playing for state titles again this weekend. Of course, 2 are from the area, St. Ignatius and Lake Catholic. Last night we looked at the Wildcats. Tonight, it's a turn for the Cougars. Lake Catholic is a team in search of a state title. You can tell by their eyes, their hands held firmly and from the direction of their head coach. You can tell they believe.
We got a lot of intensity and emotion, and I'll put all that together and got a great desire to win.
And they do at Lake Catholic. They believe in John Gibbons, their motivated head coach. They believe in the team, a team that's won 22 straight games. And they believe in never looking ahead.
We considered every game like a playoff game, and that's what they were. If we didn't win, you know, we most likely we wouldn't have made the playoffs. So it just kept us more intense throughout each regular season game.
And the Cougars swept through that regular season, never losing a game. And even at times when the playoffs were in doubt, they still believed.
I think this team has a lot of heart. Everyone goes out and gives 100%. Everyone plays together, and we're all unified as one. And that's really a big thing and a special thing about this team.
And that was never more evident than in a 24-21 come-from-behind win in the regional final against Youngstown Ursuline.
Everyone believes that if we play together, that nobody can stop us. And if we just all stick together, then be like driving force that nobody can stop.
Gibber, Saturday night, the Division III state championship at Massillon's Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, 8 o'clock. Lake Catholic ranked #1 in Division III against Ironton, ranked #2. It should be a classic.
We have to cross our fingers 2 times Saturday.
Absolutely.
Well, the Indians
drive to Canton for an 11:30 kickoff against St. Xavier of Cincinnati. And for those of you Lake Catholic fans who worried about star receiver Joe Juravicius being ready to play after missing last week with a bad knee, listen.
My mom bought 94 tickets up at school yesterday, and family and friends from out of state, you know, in state, so be a big following.
That means he'll be there. The snow should slow down the passing machines of both Cleveland teams, but these kids have been so resourceful this year. They'll find a way to get it done. Now, Crunch.
Elsewhere, the Lake Catholic Cougars also repeating in Division III. Last night, they rolled over Ironton and Massillon 31-7 as the Cougars also finished unbeaten for the year. Coach Gibbons said he is very proud to be part of what is becoming the Cleveland area dynasty of Ohio high school football.
Yeah, I think it's great anytime you can get down there and win. And I think everybody knows everybody's shooting for you, and it's nice to win another one and bring another one back to Cleveland area.
To the Cougars and Wildcats who did Northeast Ohio proud.
Reggie Leach once wrote, "Success is not the result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire." And that is what 2 teams did on a frigid Saturday. Perfection attained. 14 wins, no losses, 2 championships. Many of these young men have peaked as football players. A few may be college stars, perhaps a handful might even reach the pros. But for the most part, this is the ultimate. Nothing in years to come will take away from the exhilaration of this moment and all the sweat and blood it may have taken to get here. Both teams succeeded because of two dynamic coaches. Is it easier to hoist the hardware the second time around? Or how about the fourth? St. Ignatius, as in other title games, came from behind. Perhaps some prayers were answered. Lake Catholic was dominating in its 31-7 win. How do you crystallize a championship year? Was this run more important than, say, a run in September? Can you look back on a brilliant career and visualize every touchdown? Maybe Henry Wadsworth Longfellow penned more perfectly the essence of these two champions. The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward into the night.
U.S.
Well, guys, you did it again. Repeat champs. Of course, we're talking to Chuck Kyle and John Gibbons of St. Ignatius and Lake Catholic. Chuck, you've done it 4 times now, but they are all 4 different moments and different groups. Right?
Oh, it is. It's when you have different kids each time and you get involved with their excitement. It's special. It is. I have 4 children at home, and you love all 4 of them. Saying and you love all 4 of these championships.
Where's this bunch fit in? What's this team's identity? Where's its personality that makes it separate?
Well, I've been very pleased with the week-by-week progression of this team. Some of the others, one of them was a surprise. One of them everybody thought was going to be in the state championship from day one. This was a group that I was very thrilled with. Each week, you could just see it on the film that some definite improvement, We're getting better. We've got a chance of winning this as the year went by. So that's I think one of the things that really sticks out in my mind.
Yeah, you coaches love that stuff. Now, if anything shows how it all worked, a couple of plays in the 3rd quarter I want to show from yesterday's championship game. It begins with a pass to the tight end that sets things up.
Right. Yes, this is a delay pattern coming across. They were in a man coverage, and what happened, and actually, he's running in for the end zone. He fumbles it.
Fumbles it, and then Eric Haddad, the junior, finishes it off, though. You could do both things. I guess that's the point.
That's what we love to do, to keep the defense off balance, is be able to run, mix in the pass, and keep the teams off balance.
All right, Scotty Mutrin's just a junior. Headhead's just a junior. What's it going to be? Everybody's going to start asking you tomorrow. So how about next year,
Thank
Coach?
you for giving us 24 hours to enjoy the one victory. Yeah. We have that. We do have some offensive skill people back, and that's important because the offensive thing, it just takes a lot of work, a lot of timing. Defensively, we graduate pretty heavily, but there's some kids that have been able to get in, rotate in quite a bit. So we'll see. We need a great offseason, but it's the kids are talking about it already.
I'll bet they are. John, the style of your team, I think both of your teams really in the playoffs was really, I think, showed the rest of the state what's going to have to happen if they're going to compete, and that's to be able to do the run in the pass, isn't it?
Most definitely. Chuck and I were talking about that before we were sitting over here, the importance of the ability to have a diversified offense, and certainly our team in St. Ignatius have done that successfully.
I want to show a couple of plays again from last night's championship game that really, again, showed what you guys could do, and it was a couple of passes you don't throw a lot. This one kind of a screen pass, but to a tight end.
Right, we went into our no-huddle offense. That was the third time we were down there. We had scored 3 points, and we got in a situation where we had to make a play, and Pete Jelovic picked that play, the tight end screen, and got us a touchdown.
And then on this play, you went back against the grain to Scott Umel, and again, giving him a different kind of a look on a pass play.
Right, definitely. We got
What's that one called? You got funny names for your plays. What was that?
That looked like a frozen burrito.
Frozen burrito.
Last night it would have been.
Would you believe that? Sure. Now, for you, O'Donnell's a senior, Yomel's a senior, Jelovic's a senior, Juravicius is a senior, all those guys that were in on the touchdowns last night. Carmen Alakwa's a senior. Is this the end of the run?
No, I think that we have some players left, and they're going to work real hard, and I think you'll see us having a real good football team.
Yeah. Now, you guys do some of the best pregame and halftime speeches, and we're not going to. We won't show them off. We will save that for you guys. But yours, you got to flip-flop them, don't you? I mean, if it will come title game, because you always get them behind, and then you go in and make the good speech. You need to do them backwards.
I don't know. It is not part of the game plan to be losing at halftime. It is not. I've had people ask me, what's going on? Really, our halftime has been very businesslike because at halftime you do, okay, this is what they're trying to do to us fellas. Now, these are the 4 or 5 things. If we do this, we'll be in good shape. And really, that's what we talk about. So it's not one of these things we're yelling and screaming and all of a sudden we're going to come out and everything's going to work out perfectly. It's just a matter of just focusing in on what has to be done.
You get your guys pretty revved up too, John. We know from pregame speeches. At halftime, is it pretty much business as usual, or do you crank them up a little bit then as well?
Oh, maybe once or twice during the year you need to get the emotions flowing a little bit if there's a little lethargy, but our guys come to play, and basically it's the same situation. The coaches are getting together. We talk about what we think's going good and what needs to be improved. Then we really get down to the players, and they give us a lot of information. That's where you get a lot of real good adjustments right out of them. They're out there, and they can tell you a lot of good things.
John, a special memory from this year that will always stick with you, maybe besides being on their shoulders with a trophy in your hand?
Yeah, I think our game against Youngstown Ursuline, anytime you're behind 21-0 in a regional championship and you're playing in their backyard and you have a great player get injured, to be part of a comeback like that is something special that you always remember.
For sure. Now, the last question I got to get you guys going already on next year. You didn't play each other this year. Can we get you two together next year on the field, you know, like middle of the season like last year for like all the marbles and all that? Is the talk still going on that?
I don't know if we're going to get it next year, but gradually we're going to get together again. I don't know if it's going to be next year, though.
Because it's the big event. You want it, don't you?
I think it'd be a great
parking lot next week. We got a back lot here next week.
Well,
are you guys done?
Now the wind chill factor was 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Yours had to be 8 degrees. It's about time to go indoors for sports now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Hey, again, congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations to you, Andy. You, John. You guys have done a wonderful job, and you've got good kids too, and that helps.
That's for sure.
All right, now when we come back, Division III state championship. Oh, perfection for them. 14 wins and no losses on the season.
We were particularly proud that not only the way our team played, but the way our community pulled together and supported us all year. Even in the games where things didn't go well for us, they stayed there and inspired us. So it was just a gratifying feeling all the way around.
They were fun to watch the last couple of years. Now here are the numbers on this Monday night.